Just eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. That's the piece of advice we hear from any friend or family member who has never suffered from any sort of disordered eating pattern in their entire lives. I'm sure they mean well, but they don't know what people like us have gone through. Throughout many points of my life, I've struggled with overeating. I can now confidently say that I'm at a place in my life where it's very rare for me to eat past the point of being uncomfortably full, when this used to be an occurrence that happened at least once, if not 3 times a week. And I'm here to tell you my secrets. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Amanda, aka Fit Food AE, and today we're going to talk about how to overcome binge eating for good based on my personal experience. So if you're excited to hear me speak about this, please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel and I post videos every week. And with that, let's get started. Let's take things back to when I was in high school, specifically grade 11, when I was around 16 years old. At this point in my life, I used to severely undereat during the week. I'm talking like 1,000 calories per day. That looked like a laugh, but it was actually a cringe because that's crazy. Then I would follow this with a binge either on a Friday or Saturday night when I was out with my friends or hanging out at someone's house. And when it came to exercise, I used to go running all the time. But it wasn't because I loved running, it was because I was using it as a form of punishment. I would run for at least an hour each day to offset the times that I overate. I would often run to the point where I made myself sick, and I knew it got really out of hand when I actually ended up losing my period for 3 months. And I want to make it clear that binge eating once a week, that wasn't my intention. I just simply found myself in this vicious cycle and didn't know how to stop. But looking back, the biggest reason I binge ate on the weekends is because I severely deprived myself during the week. I wasn't eating nearly enough calories to fuel my body, especially considering I was a growing teenager and I was going on all those runs throughout the week. I had this all or nothing mentality when it came to that one weekend night. I told myself that I had to stuff my face and eat whatever was in front of me right now because I was going to starve myself during the week. So my tangible advice to you, if you find yourself in this situation or something similar, is to eat an adequate amount of calories during the week so you don't find yourself overcompensating on the weekends because you're feeling deprived. If you're currently eating in a calorie deficit, make sure that the deficit amount is sustainable and not too extreme. It's better to lose the weight gradually and keep it off than to just crash diet and be miserable and end up gaining all the way back. I'm gonna link a video on the screen that I recently posted about calorie deficits. I would highly recommend watching that if you wanna learn more. Another scenario could be if you've reached a weight loss plateau, if you find yourself eating very few calories but not losing any weight or making any progress. It could be time for a reverse diet in order to fix your metabolism. Due to the fact that I was severely undereating for several years, my metabolism slowed down and my body was learning to survive on fewer calories. My maintenance calories were at a much lower number than they should have been, considering my age, height, weight, and activity level, meaning that my deficit calories were just impossibly low. If this is the situation that you find yourself to be in, it's likely that you're not going to be able to consistently hit that deficit number and then end up occasionally binging in order to compensate for the fact that you're feeling deprived. If you want to learn more about this, I would highly recommend watching the video I recently did on reverse dieting. I'm going to link it on the screen up here. After I went through my reverse dieting process, I stopped binge eating. That was what fixed it for me. But I recognize that there are other scenarios that people go through that cause them to binge eat. So let's go through them and figure out some solutions. One thing I know that many people struggle with, especially if you're in college or university, is drunk eating. I was definitely a culprit of this back in the day. I would literally order an entire tray of nachos to myself. They were probably at least like 1,500 calories. And I would just eat them in bed by myself and then go to bed right after that. I would wake up feeling gross and lethargic, and it would really negatively impact me the next day. The number one thing I would recommend you do is to make sure you eat dinner before you go out. It sounds simple, but I know that a lot of you 20-year-olds watching this probably end up skipping a meal because you want to get drunk faster or you just didn't have time to eat. Make sure that the meal you're eating is high in protein in order to keep you full, not just a piece of toast. Or if you're old like me and end up going to sit down bars and pubs most of the time, you can always get dinner when you're out. Just get something that's a normal size portion, or even get an app and split it with a friend or two. This way you won't end up starving when you get home at 2 a.m. and then ordering an entire large pizza on Uber Eats. Can't say I've ever done that before. Just remember that you don't need a massive meal that late at night if all you're gonna do is just go to sleep afterwards. Like, you don't need that energy for anything. If you do find yourself to be really hungry that late at night, a small snack like half a protein bar or a handful of pretzels will do until you can wake up in the morning and make yourself a good breakfast. Okay, so how about those social events where food is the main focus, like a dinner party or a potluck where the food is like buffet style? These events used to cause me so much anxiety. Like, I would get so stressed for days leading up to them. Events like these used to cause binges for me because I would constantly be thinking about all this food that I was surrounded with, and I just wanted to try everything. I wouldn't even be able to focus on the people that I was with or anything else that was going on. And that's exactly what I wanted to point out, because often these events are centered around some sort of family or friend gathering, and really the point of it is to enjoy time with your loved ones and spend time in each other's company. So if that's the main thing you're focused on, then the food will be secondary. When it comes to the food though, my best advice would be to stick to your favorites, or to pick a few things that you're really excited about trying and then stick to those rather than trying to sample everything. If you find yourself going for seconds or thirds when you're not even that hungry, just check in with yourself and ask yourself if you actually want more food or if you're just bored. Speaking of being just bored, sometimes when we overeat, it's not even in a social setting. In fact, it's when we're alone. Some people struggle the most when they're alone and just sitting on the couch doing something mindless, like watching TV or scrolling on their phone. Portion control is going to be your best friend in these situations. So instead of sitting on the couch eating this massive family-sized bag of Lay's potato chips, which I feel like is the classic couch potato food for whatever reason, weigh out portions with a food scale and then put them into little plastic bags. Or better yet, you could even buy those pre-portioned little snack packets that are like 100 to 200 calories each. Or if you're one of those people that just appreciates a bottomless snack, which I know that I do sometimes, going for a lower calorie snack like popcorn or cut up fruit or veggies, that's gonna be your best bet. So despite putting all of this amazing advice into practice, if you're a chronic binge eater, you're still gonna have slip-ups, and that's okay. What I would recommend doing is journaling, and I know it sounds a bit weird, but stick with me. You can do this on your notes app on your phone, in your diary app, or just in a notebook with pen and paper. Write down exactly how you're feeling the day after a binge. For example, I remember I used to write stuff like, I feel bloated, I feel lethargic, I don't want to go to the gym, I just want to lie in bed all day, and I don't want to do my homework. I remember even writing down that I didn't even enjoy the food because I was wolfing it down so fast, and sometimes I couldn't even taste it. It's kind of sad if you think about it. Read this before you feel a binge coming on, or before that night out with your friends, before that potluck, whenever you think is necessary. After a while, that feeling will be engraved into your brain, and then you'll realize that the cons will outweigh the pros. And that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you found today's content to be informative. Please comment with any follow-up questions you have, and I'll be sure to address them. Also, feel free to comment below and let me know which topics you want covered next. If you did like this video, I'm sure you appreciate educational fitness and nutrition content, so I'm gonna link a couple other videos on the screen that you should watch next. And please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel, and I post new videos every week. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye.